Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I want to talk about something that I just found out about this evening. Someone sent me a message on X about some cases that are happening in Argentina. All right. This looks like it was published around 2 days ago. I've seen it in the Economic Times, and also I think it was called the Mirror. I think both of them are actually British publications, but the actual notification that I received from X is from the Mirror. Okay, so I appreciate people sending me stuff. So let me just kind of read through this and why I think this is important. I don't want to cause any alarm. There's no reason to be have some sort of elevated fear. All right. But as you know, if I think something is important to talk about, I will. All right. Like, for example, when the H5N1 cases with the cows, I said, this is probably something not to worry about, and it's not something to worry about. All right. I mean, it didn't spread, to humans and all this like everyone thought. So, but I informed the public this is what happened with H5N1, and there are cows that have been infected, that it is in the milk supply, but not to worry about it. All right. All right. So, and I just left it at that. Some people kind of blew it up out of proportion for no reason. All right. But this one worries me a little bit. All right. The reason why H5N1 didn't worry me is that sometimes these things, and birds, will infect livestock, and they may, these livestock or cattle or whatever, or chickens or whatever, may get infected by pathogens from birds. It's happened for thousands of years, so it's not, it's more than thousands of years, ever since there were animals and birds, right? But what and I said in those videos, that these are natural phenomena that will eventually die out, and that there was no human to human, known human to human transmission with this particular version of H5N1. All right. And that the individuals, the panhandlers on the farm, contracted it from the cow directly. All right. And it's not to worry about. Now, it is in the milk supply. It's been found in the milk supply, but it hasn't been found as active in the milk supply. So I wouldn't worry about it. And that was a true statement. I called that correctly. This one worries me a little bit. All right. This story that came out with what's going on in Argentina. The H5N1 story, zoonotic, not a version that seems to have been manipulated in the laboratory. All right. So that's a key. That was the reason why I said this version of H5N1 don't worry about. All right, because there's supercharged stuff that's out there that's been manipulated that's way worse, way worse. All right, and we would have seen it all over the place by now in humans. That didn't take place, just like I called it. All right, this one is a little bit worrisome. Officially, research with a research in pathogens that create psittacosis officially stopped being researched in the biological labs for weapons development. We know, all right, that there's continuous research in this stuff. All right, so the headline is that we don't do any more research in psittacosis, as a weapons program. All right, so you got to worry about that part of it. There's also this idea that I've been saying for 4 years of AIDS-like syndrome. And AIDS-like syndrome is going through the crisis and post-crisis, going through the 2020 crisis and the after effect. Many people, their immune systems, for various reasons, the inoculation or the pathogen, has a down act. Their immune system is less active. All right. And because it's less active, it's not going to be able to fight pathogens. So there are areas of the world where there may be there is a flare up that takes place. And because there is a series of people that are weakened with their immune system, it flares up. While in a pre-2020 crisis, the immune systems were more robust and could prevent the outbreak as much. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the actual article from the Mirror, because I think the article from the Mirror is slightly better. A lot of it's copy paste between these different news networks, but I think the Mirror had a little bit of additional information in it compared to the Economic Times. So let me read it, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this. All right. Mystery flu similar to COVID leaves dozens critically ill, with doctors on high alert. An alert about the mystery virus circulated via the International Public Health Surveillance System, ProMed, as 60 people. All right. Remember, with the H5N1, it was 1 or 2 farmers. All right. And lots of cows. Right. This is 60 people. We're reported with the sickness in Argentina. Doctors are on high alert over a mystery flu-like illness. All right. Very similar to 2019 was a flu-like illness. All right. With similarities to COVID-19 that have people critically ill. The people that contracted the H5N1 recently with the cows were not critically ill in Argentina. International Public Health Surveillance System, ProMed, issued an alert on April 17th, and I'm recording this on April 21st, 2024, after 60 cases of an unknown sickness were reported. And I'm going to butcher this. Everyone makes fun of me when I pronounce this. Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires. Whatever. This is the same database that first alerted authorities to COVID-19 back in 2019. The alert, submitted anonymously via an individual known to ProMed, stated, in the past 30 days, since April 17th, so the past 30 days, there appears to have been an increase in severe atypical pneumonia, okay, requiring critical care in Buenos Aires. The affected individuals are mostly young people. The normally young have better immune systems without major risk factors. Okay. So it's happening to people that don't have major risk factors. Right. While no official statements have been made by the Argentinian officials, it's reported that patients needed mechanical ventilation to help them breathe. So that means their pulse ox is low. All right. And that they're not responding to non-ventilation treatment. All right. So they're reaching a low pulse ox and they're now already going towards, okay, you need supplemental oxygen. Over a third of the cases, so over a third, so there's 60. All right. So more than 20 of the cases affected shown symptoms of psittacosis. Okay. So this is a bacteria that comes from birds that causes psittacosis. Psittacosis is the disease. A disease caused by a type of chlamydia found in birds. However, many had no apparent history of contact with birds. Now, it's important to remember the chlamydia that causes psittacosis is or was pathogens that were experimented in laboratories for biological weapon development. Right? Psittacosis, also known as parrot fever, is causing concern with its flu-like symptoms that can escalate to pneumonia. It's a particular worry for the elderly, which makes sense because their immune system is down, or those of weakened immune systems. This is the reason why psittacosis is a problem for HIV patients, reports the Daily Star. The alert warned, although psittacosis appears to be the etiology of some of these cases, there may be more than one agent involved. ProMed would appreciate more information about these cases. The Daily Mail reports that experts are urging health officials not to take the situation lightly, despite reassurances that it's unlikely this will pose a threat more widely. Okay, so that's the end of the article. All right. The reason why this is making me a little bit nervous compared to the H5N1 case with the cows is one, the H5N1 case that seemed to be a natural phenomenon that did not affect humans. It affected cows, and that's something that happens on a farm all the time. And the version of H5N1 didn't look like it was lab manipulated, all right? Doesn't show the signs of the supercharged H5N1 that are in the labs. The chlamydia psittacosis, I think it's how it's pronounced, the bacteria that causes psittacosis from birds, this is affecting at least 20 people. All right. There is a little bit, because this article doesn't go into a lot of detail. It doesn't. They were mentioning it shows that 1/3 seem to be having psittacosis. Is it confirmed by PCR? Is it confirmed by culture that it is from chlamydia? Psittacosis, right, or not? So, it seems as though maybe it hasn't been fully confirmed yet, but it looks like it's psittacosis. All right. The people don't remember being contracted by birds. Now, how can you get this? You can get it by mouth to beak presentation. So people that have parrots, and sometimes the parrot is on their shoulder or whatever, and it may try to move towards the mouth of the human, there could be a transmission of the bacteria that causes psittacosis to the human from the parrot. That's why they call it parrot fever, right? So you can have it mouth to beak transmission. You can have dry feces transmission, where you're breathing in the dry feces. It can be from the dust from the feathers, all right, that can transmit this bacteria. So there's different ways that it can be transmitted, but you would have to kind of remember that you were by birds. Now, if it's in a local area, it seems to me that there must have been some sort of, maybe these people, at least 20 of the 60, were in a similar area. It doesn't state that. All right. So is this something new? Is this something released that's not from the bird that people have been contracting in Argentina? There's more questions than answers in this. This is the reason why I'm a little bit more worried about this than that the cows getting H5N1, all right, because that's all natural, all right, and that will die off. This, there's more humans involved, and it's not so clear what the vector is. It's from a bird disease typically, but no one remembers being by birds. So is this some sort of weaponized thing that's going on in Argentina? And why is it happening in Argentina? I don't have answers. I have a lot of questions. That's why I would put that I'm not saying red alert. It's not a red alert, all right, where it's going to spread across the world. You know, like what happened with the crisis in 2020. But this is concerning, and it may end up being a much worse situation. All right, so just pay attention. Now, how is this treated? It's treated by taking antibiotics. All right, there are several different types of antibiotics. Tetracyclines are one set of antibiotics to fight this, but it's not the only. So you know, how are they responding to the treatment? We don't know. The article doesn't really say, other than that their pulse ox was low and that they needed mechanical ventilation. Well, I mean, that means that they're in pulmonary distress. Now, after administering the antibiotics, is it solving the problem? And has it been confirmed that it's chlamydia psittacosis or not? And what about the other? You know, what about the other 40 patients? Is it something else? Is this some sort of chimera where it's kind of fooling the body, where it may be that acts kind of like psittacosis, but it's also kind of influenza or something? Without more information, it's hard to discern. With the cow incident, with the H5N1, it was very quick. All right, there was a mystery illness with a cow. They took some samples and they were able to isolate it, and they were able to get isolates and do testing and found that it was a certain version of H5N1. We don't have more information. If it seems to me that we may be dealing with some sort of chimera, or these people have maybe 20 of them out of the 60 have parrot fever, and maybe the other 40 have something slightly different. And maybe the chimera presents for different patients differently, or they've been exposed to two different things at roughly the same time period. Now, and the article doesn't talk about human to human transmission. Is this happening where there's human to human transmission? Because they don't remember being by birds, it's very possible that 1 or 2 or 3 were by a bird and then they've been spreading it. And it has a low transmission rate, but perhaps, it's not proven, but perhaps there's human to human transmission. So because of all these questions that I have, it's a little bit more worrisome than this cow H5N1 thing, all right? Because more was known about the cow incident, right? And, you know, these things happen on farms. This is a little bit more. Now, are the stories real or not? Is it that it's leaked out to try to create fear in the public? I don't know, all right? But I suspect that these incidences are real and that something has happened in Argentina. Why? I don't know. And, you know, what's the PCR saying? What's the cultures showing? You know, what kind of pathogens are we talking about here? Because through the sequencing, we will know if a chimera is involved. Through the sequencing, we will know if it is a chlamydia derivative or something that is maybe influenza derivative or a combination. We need the sequence, right? And until we have a sequence, we don't know what the hell's going on. We only see, well, a clinical presentation that seems like it's psittacosis, all right? But this might just die out. Hopefully it just dies out and it's just local. There doesn't seem to be any kind of worldwide spread of this kind of incident. But I suspect because people don't remember being by birds, and there's 60 that happened, it's probably 1 or 2 people that were exposed somehow, either through a non-bird vector or through a bird vector, and it's being passed from human to human, assuming that these 60 people somehow knew each other. If these 60 people didn't know each other, then it's even more mysterious what the hell's going on. But there is this thing that's going on in the world, and that is people's immune systems, because of what we went through in the crisis, is weakened through inoculations and through pathogens, through the pathogen that was the crisis of 2020. I'm trying to be coy with the way I say certain things so it can stay on YouTube. All right. So just bear with me. All right. It's hard to do when you're doing content and you have to deal with censorship. So there are groups of people, there are cohorts of people that have weakened immune systems. There's also cohorts of people that went through the crisis that have actually an overreactive immune system, where it's an autoimmune disorder. So are these people, did they contract COVID back during the crisis, these young people, or not? Right? These are other, what was their inoculation status? There's a lot of unknown. We don't know. And this is the reason why I'm a little concerned. I want to, we need to put a little bit of our attention on this. I wouldn't say that this is a alert crisis worry, like, Omicron or during the first wave, or alpha, beta, gamma, delta came out, or white lung, right, issue that was happening in China with the mycoplasma pneumonia. So just pay attention, all right? It can be treated if it is the chlamydia psittacosis, or chi, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, that it's if it is, then it could be treated with antibiotics. But you're going to have pulmonary distress, all right? And let me read some of the things that you may see if you contract this, all right? The incubation period is 5 to 19 days. So so that makes sense that this seemed to be something happening 30 days in since April 17th. Okay, so that seems to play out. Severe pneumonia, so you're going to have the pulmonary distress. That's being stated in the news article because of the pulse ox being low. It's going to mimic typhoid fever. Okay, you're going to have joint pain. You're going to have high fever. You're going to have diarrhea, conjunctivitis. So you're going to have problems with your eye, right? Nosebleeds can happen, and low levels of white blood cells. Low levels of white blood cells, all right? Important. This is a manifestation of that AIDS-like syndrome that I was talking about. Rose spots or hoarder spots. I'm not sure. I don't remember what rose spots. Rose spots. Oh, on the chest for typhoid. That's right. And then spleen enlargement. Okay. And that happens in the first week. So it can be a very serious problem if not treated. All right. So it's not something that if you contract and you think you might have this cysticosis, then you definitely need treatment. All right. For sure. All right. And the treatment is antibiotics. Um, Headaches, meningitis, and if it's not treated, you can go into a coma. All right. So you're going to definitely have the pulmonary distress or the dyspnea. And complications can be endocarditis, liver inflammation, inflammation of heart muscles. All right. So there seems to be a common thread here. Remember, I said bacteria and viral infections can cause endocarditis, myocarditis, right? Pericarditis. Keratoconjunctivitis. Um, Neurological complications. So you have the inflammation of the brain. So this and fatal cases have been reported less than 1%, probably because treatment, early treatment helps, right? I've already talked about the transmission, how it's diagnosed. Blood analysis of the white blood cells. You're looking at leukocytosis. You're looking at liver enzymes. C-reactive protein. Erythrocyte sedimentation rate. And differential diagnosis must be made with typhus, typhoid, and atypical pneumonia by mycoplasma, Legionella, and Q fever. All right, so, when someone's coming in, they got all these problems, you don't know exactly what it is. This is the reason why you need the culture, you need the PCR, you need a sequence to know exactly what the hell you're dealing with. All right. So perhaps, I don't know if this is true, but maybe the other 40 cases are not the chlamydia derivative, but perhaps mycoplasma. And that this is kind of a mix of what was going on in China with the mycoplasma pneumonia with the white lung and this kind of new manifestation that's with some of the population within the 60 cases is kind of mixed with chlamydia cysticosis. All right. Now, how it's treated is antibiotics, tetracycline, like I said, or chloramphenicol, doxycycline. All right. So, it can be treated. Now, what is important here is that it's from birds, but these people don't remember being around birds. And about 1/3 are showing Psittacosis. All right. But what about the other 40? It's not really mentioned in the article. There's a lot of questions. What exactly are we dealing with here? Now, this was only published in the media 2 days ago, right? But it's been known within this ProMed surveillance system, alert system, that this has been around for 30 days, which makes sense with the incubation period. Remember, I said the incubation period is 5 to 19 days. So, are there going to be more cases? Well, if there's human to human transmission, there may be more cases that pop up in the next 20 days or so. So there's just a lot of questions. And because there's so many questions and what ifs and all this, I would say be on the lookout, but you can still do your daily activity and not really worry about it. It seems to be local to Argentina, Buenos Aires. I always pronounce that name, the name of their capital, wrong. But it's local, and it doesn't look like there's an outbreak, right? In a wider region in the country or on the continent or around the world. So I would say not to worry about it. But I question, is it from a bird? Is it a chimera? Is this some other vector release kind of thing? I don't know, but it's for sure the the bacterium that causes cysticosis, right? The bacterium that causes cysticosis officially years ago was part of a bioweapons research in the United States. And I don't believe that that research stopped. So even though officially it did, all right, but I doubt that it did. Plus, you have other nations of the world, playing around with this stuff too. So that's my take on it. All right. Not to worry, don't panic, but just be on the lookout. This may just die out and maybe we'll never know what really happened. Hopefully, these 60 patients, they get the isolates and sequence it. And then by sequencing it, we'll know what the hell is going on with all 60 patients. And there's probably a little bit of a mix. Perhaps two pathogens are happening all at the same time, two separate pathogens. But if you're talking about now chimeras that look like they're mixed together, then it's moving more towards something that was lab manipulated. And this is the reason why it's so important to get the sequence. The sequence tells you what is going on, how it was made or how it emerged and all this stuff, right? Either manipulated on purpose or just a natural phenomena that emerged in nature. We don't know because we don't have the sequence. So that's my take on this story. It might just die out. Hopefully it dies out, but it's a little bit more concerning than H5N1 cow stuff, right? So, in terms of street cred, I could have just played up the whole H5N1 like other people did and, say that it's all dangerous and everything is going to, go helter skelter and blah, blah, blah. It didn't happen. Why? Because it's a natural thing that just happens and just dies out. This is a little bit more concerning. All right. It could die out, but we don't know because there's a lot of what ifs and more questions than answers. And that's why I think that please pay attention to this. If there are more stories about this that comes out, more information, sequences or whatever, I'll do a video on it. If not, if it's opaque and we don't know, it's all speculation. But I gave you kind of my logic and why I think it's something to be concerned, but don't be overly worried. All right, at least not yet. All right, please help support my work by going to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. We are going into the allergy season, potentially even cysticosis season too, who knows? But, we're definitely going through the allergy season. So you need to boost up your immune system. I'm going to focus, just pay attention to me really carefully. All right. If you need to boost up your immune system, all right, most of us do, since we've gone through the crisis, you need to follow my advice. Sit down, write it on a piece of paper, right? And go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. All right. To boost up your immune system, you follow my advice here. Now, this is going through allergy season or, perhaps flu-like season. All right. Whatever it is. All right. Get the max 14 or max 35 or silver solution. I have 3 different structural nano silver liquids. Take a teaspoon of it a day. If you're not feeling well, make sure you take a tablespoon or 2 a day. It neutralizes pathogens. How does it do it? It affects the glycoprotein. Okay? Bring down that inflammatory response, that pro-inflammatory response, because of being in a chronic state of worry or a chronic state of fighting something, all right, that wears down on your immune system. What you want to do is take turmeric. This will bring down those pro-inflammatory cytokines to get your body in your immune system more rested, so it can recharge to be able to fight pathogens. All right. So take turmeric, and that's going to bring down inflammation, pro-inflammatory cytokines. Take ashwagandha with the turmeric, and that will help to also reduce that inflammatory response in the vascular system. This also helps to control glucose. Lignans will boost up your immune system. It's a powder. You mix it with food, or you can mix it with water. Take it every day. This will help boost up your immune system. Vitamin C is needed to boost up your immune system. It's an antioxidant. It also helps with your skin. If you're not feeling well, take a double dose of this and drink filtered water, because it's water soluble. Vitamin D3, which is lipid soluble. I drink it with milk. All right. You take it with it's lipid. It's not water soluble. It's lipid soluble. I take 2 capsules. These are soft gels, right? So I take 1 in the morning and 1 at night. All right. This will help to get rid of the cells that are infected. It helps cells to go into apoptosis, and it helps with gene expression. So the genes that need to be expressed to fight an infection the cofactor, the vitamin D3, is needed to do that. So if you're low on D3, you don't have the cofactors to go through apoptosis and fight infection. So take this every day. All right. Take zinc and magnesium every day. You can go to my store and you can get that too. Taking a probiotic every day will help to repopulate your gut biome. In the post era that we're in, from the crisis of 2020, many people have a disrupted gut biome, and there seems to be some signs that long COVID may be related to a disrupted gut biome, post-infection. Take this every day, all right? And this is going to help to repopulate and get your body into the homeostasis where you have the proper gut biome. And that's important for metabolism, and that's important for energy absorption. Now, if you have a bad gut biome, then you're going to be inflamed. Your body is going to try to be fighting that inflammation, and you're going to wear down your immune system. So if you reduce that inflammation because of a poor gut biome, you're going to be helping your immune system. See how all these things are synergistic? You can't just take one thing and it's going to be a magic bullet. But when you mix things together and you know why you're mixing them, all right, what will happen is that you're actually going to boost up your immune system. You can't just take D3. You can't just take lignans. You can't just take vitamin C. These things work synergistically. And if you follow my lead, you will fare much better in terms of slowing down the aging process, bringing down that inflammation, and boosting up your immune system. Because all of our immune systems are weakened. Now, because we're going through a potential situation with psittacosis, but definitely allergy season, please get a couple bags for your house of the lozenges and the drops that I have. I have elderberry zinc, that's in a 21 count. I have the honey and lemon drops in a 100 count. I also have the manuka honey in a 21 count lozenges, and I have blueberry drops in a 100 count. Get a couple of these bags for your house. The taste is very good. these different flavors, but it has a higher concentration of structural nanosilver. So what's going to happen when you take this, it'll soothe that throat, reduce that inflammatory response, make sure that the lining in your upper respiratory area is intact, and help to neutralize pathogens because of the structural nanosilver. And that's those secretions are going to help to clear the allergic reaction that you're going to be getting during the allergy season. I suspect because of the way the temperature gradients are happening around the United States, and this, where you have it's cold and then it gets warm again and then it gets cold, and then we have had more precipitation than normal. I suspect that allergy season and people having kind of these spring colds are going to be more prevalent this year. All right. So make sure that you get the drops and the lozenges. It's going to help you. All right. For the ones that purchase the structural nanosilver liquid, all right, I also have these applicators. You want to put the liquid in these bottles and take them with you in your bag. All right. You get a spray bottle, you get a dropper, and nasal spray. If you're not feeling well, use the nasal spray right away. You want to catch it early. All right. In addition, I've told people about making these teas where you can make a black tea, but and you boil with filtered water, fresh grated ginger, chopped garlic, put some turmeric in there, cinnamon, lemons, fresh sliced lemons, and you boil that, right? A slow boil. It'll smell menacing, and then you take the contents in there and the liquid, and you pour it into a mug, and you have an oolong tea. You brew an oolong tea, and you just drink the tea and eat the ingredients, especially the ginger and the garlic and the lemon zest. That will help to bring down that inflammation, and also boost up that response of the immune system to kind of fight, right? To fight it. And you need to do this like 2 or 3 times each day for the first 3 or 4 days. The moment you start feeling something, it's not right. But you also want to use the nasal spray and spray it in your nose with the structural nanosilver liquid. All right. And it's convenient. You put this in your bag, and you can use the little spray spritzer, on surfaces or the back of your throat or on your hands. It's very easy and portable instead of carrying a big bottle with you in your bag. So please go to the store and get the applicators too. And lastly, well, almost lastly, second to the last, neutralize pathogens by having the proper oral hygiene. All right. This structural nanosilver has no fluoride in it. All right. This toothpaste has no fluoride in it. It has structural nanosilver. It'll whiten your teeth, freshen your breath, but it'll neutralize those pathogens because of the structural nanosilver in the toothpaste. So this is another way to kind of make sure that your body is protected. All right. It's a very, very high quality toothpaste. Get a few tubes of this for your household. For the ones that haven't tried it yet, once you try it, you're gonna agree with me. It's the best toothpaste that you've ever used. Now, lastly, get the C60. What does it do? It is a very, very strong antioxidant. Now, during the cold season, or during the allergy season, or even if you're just well, our cells get stressed because of free radicals. If you work out, you create more free radicals. If you are in an environment that is stressful, either emotionally or taxing on the body, because of our environment, then you're going to have more free radicals. In addition, when you're sick, you'll also develop more free radicals. You want to neutralize those free radicals because those free radicals can cause permanent damage to cells. It's called irreversible necrosis. You want to soak those up, and what will happen is the cell's ability to function improves and the mitochondria in the cell improve. That means you'll have more ATP, you'll have more energy, and your immune system will start to improve. I have it C60 in 3 different configurations. I have it in the coconut configuration. I have it in the avocado configuration. All right. And I also have a new version that's in extra virgin olive oil. All right. So, some people may prefer the olive oil versus the coconut versus the avocado, but you can get it in a 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, or an 8 ounce configuration at different price points. And by taking this every day, if you get the 2 ounce, take a dropper of it every day. If you get the 4 or 8 ounce, what you want to do is you want to take a teaspoon of it a day. What I do as a daily protocol is take a teaspoon of it a day. All right. I prefer the avocado. Now, there's some benefits to the coconut, the MCT coconut. It gives you a little bit more energy, and then it also has properties that that are antiviral properties. All right. But I prefer the actual avocado. All right. If I am sick and I'm not feeling well, or I'm really worn out or whatever, or a really strenuous exercising or whatever, you want to maybe take not just a teaspoon, you probably want to take a tablespoon, all right, to soak up those free radicals, especially if you're sick, all right? But I normally take a teaspoon of it a day, all right? Some people can't afford taking a teaspoon of it a day, so take a drop of it a day. Taking it every day is important, all right? So not taking it at all, that's a bad idea, all right? If you can't afford a teaspoon a day, take a dropper a day. You'll get benefit from it. You'll get more benefit with a teaspoon of it a day. If you have chronic problems, or if you're sick, temporarily, take a tablespoon of it a day. Now, you can get it in the 2 ounce again, the 4 ounce, or the 8 ounce in coconut, avocado, or olive oil. If you follow my lead on this, you're going to boost up your immune system. You're going to improve your health, and you're going to be able to fight pathogens better. It's up to you. You can take my advice or not take my advice. I'm telling you what I do. And I'm giving you products on my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, to help you navigate through problems. All right. That's the best that I can do. Please subscribe to all my channels. I have 3 channels on YouTube. I have Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. You can follow me on X and GETTR or Facebook. You can also follow me on Podomatic and Apple Podcast. In addition, please help support my news coverage by donating on my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com. You can donate through Stripe, PayPal, or Buy Me a Coffee, or be a paid member to the different tiers that I have for Patreon that helps to support my work. Thank you for listening. Don't worry about this too much, about the psittacosis, but just be on the lookout. I'm more concerned about this than the cow H5N1. All All right. That's really saying something, all right? Because there's a lot of unknown. And, until we know more, we just need to be on the lookout. You don't have to panic, but we are going through allergy season, and the weather patterns this year, probably for obvious reasons, are different than last year or prior years. There are temperature gradient differences, and the precipitation is more. I suspect that people will be getting sick more often in the spring. Take my advice, get this the supplements and the items that I mentioned on my store, and it'll help to boost up your immune system. Thank you for listening. Have a nice night.